As I finished wasting away my teenage life watching the news, I met up with Barry and his anti-gravitational blonde hair. We went into Lake Verity and noticed Professor Rowan and Don in a deep discussion. They left, but soon after, a pack of Starlies attacked us, which were quickly defeated with my starter of choice and my favorite among the three, Gertrude. I returned home and reported to Mother that Barry and I almost got killed by a pack of birds, which she responded with, "Here's a pair of shoes." Running past Route 201, I arrived at San Jam Town and went into Professor Rowan's lab, where I officially received Gertrude and named it Terra. This brings to Nuzlocke Rule 1, whereby I will have to name all my Pokemon to build an emotional attachment to them. I have also set the playstyle Reset, whereby I am not allowed to know beforehand an opponent's next Pokemon and swap into an advantageous matchup. After informing Mother that I am going on a journey of unavoidable permanent emotional trauma, she responded with, "Here's a hat." Later, I met Dawn in Route 202 and received my first set of Pokeball. From here onwards, the Nuzlocke has officially begun. Rule number 2. I can only capture the first Pokemon encounter at any new area. If this encounter faints or escapes, there will be no second chances. To keep things fresh and exciting, if the first encounter is a Pokemon that has been caught before, I can keep going for new encounters until I see the first new Pokemon I meet. This is to ensure that I don't have 5 Beedus on my team. My first encounter on Route 202 was, lo and behold, a Beedoo, which I named it God. Sweeping through the route, I arrived at Jubilife City. After delivering the parcel to Barry as per requested, I talked to my kind around the city and received the package. Before moving on, I fished up a Magikarp on Route 218 and named it Dead Fish, and a Budew on Route 204 and named her Rose. As I entered Route 203, Barry requested for a battle and was quickly defeated. Soon, I encountered a Starly, which I named after my viewer, Yvonne. After traversing through Oracle Gate, I arrived at Oracle City, and I entered the local mine to look for rock with the first gym leader, whilst also catching a Geodude which was named Dude. The first gym of rock types was not a challenge as Terra swept through with Razor Leaf and we received the Gold Badge. Moving up north, I caught Pawa, the Machop, at Route 207. I returned to Jubilife City, walked up north to Route 204 where Yvonne evolved into a Staravian. Upon arriving to Floral Town, I noticed 2 suspicious men with suspicious bold haircuts and moved on to Route 205. Here, I found the water type to my team, which is a Weasel. I caught it and named it Ludrop. As the entrance to the Valorine Works was blocked by a grunt, I returned to Floroma Town, robbed the previous grunts of the key, and entered the building. Here, I met Commander Mars of Team Galactic, which is notoriously known for her hard-hitting Perugly. With the help of Yvonne's Intimidate and Growls, and a bit of poison from Rose, Terra was able to finish it off. Through this event, Terra evolved into Growl. Walking through Route 205, God evolved into Barrel. I entered Eternal Forest and met Cheryl, who needed help traversing through the forest. My first encounter was a Wurmple, which I caught and named it Orange Jesus. Soon, I met these pair of Psychics who had a pair of Airbrush. Unfortunately, one of the Airbrush cast an energy ball and one-shot the Ludrop into the ground, announcing our first fallen soldier. He lived a very short life. This brings us to rule number 3. When a Pokemon faints, it is considered dead and will be buried in the sea storage box for all of eternity. If I were to meet the Pokemon again on the first encounter at a new route, it will be considered a duplicate and cannot be captured. I entered Eternal City and met Cynthia for the first time, where we discussed briefly about an ancient Pokemon of Sinnoh. I obtained the Traveler's Kit and entered the Grand Underground. As the Grand Underground Pokemon encounters are visible, the Nuzlocke rules in this case are a little bit different. 1. Each room is considered a new area, allowing the capture of 1 new Pokemon. 2. I can only capture the first Pokemon I saw that is not a duplicate. 3rd, if the room has no new Pokemon, I am not allowed to capture any more in that room. During my first Grand Underground adventure, Orange Jesus was able to evolve into a Dustox. I also caught Jeff the Gastrodon and championed the Pachirisu. In an attempt to catch a Murkrow, Dude unfortunately died in the process. A wasted life as we aren't able to catch the Murkrow anyway. The second gym of grass types was also a piece of cake, as Yvonne was able to sweep through with quick attacks, and we were rewarded with the Forest Badge. Later, I entered the Galactic Building in Eternal City and came face to face with Commander Jupiter and her Skuntank. In an attempt to paralyze it with Rose's stun spore, Skuntank retaliates with Flamethrower and Rose was burnt into dust. As I returned to the Grand Underground, I encountered a Skorupi at a very high level. It landed a critical hit with Poison Tail and Yvonne was this close to dying. I sent out Champion to lower its attack with Charm and paralyzed it with Nuzzle. Then, I swapped into Deadfish to stall as I flinged my stock of Pokeballs at it. Unfortunately, Deadfish perished by a wave of Venom Shots. God tanks in its place but was also soon murdered by a critical hit from Bug Bite. Powa steps up but was also killed by an unstoppable array of attacks. Having no choice but to ensure that the rest of the squad survives, I ran away with my tail between my legs. After clearing the bike runway of Route 206, I entered the Wayward Cave, where I found a little girl named Mira who needed help to escort her out of the confusing maze. Later, I caught the only other fire type in the game, Ponyta, and named it after one of my viewers, Enfers. Going into the short path of Mount Coronet, I met Cyrus, who was on about Worlds and Ruination or whatever. I ended up on Route 208 and continued to the next city. Entering Hearthome City, I walked my Pokemon at the park and even entered a Pokemon contest. I met up with Barry in the city, but again proved no challenge against my team. Sweeping past Route 209, I arrived into Salation Town to take a quick short break. Up north into Route 210, a path was blocked by a wall of Psyducks who are in grave need of therapy, but I decided to ignore them and battle some trainers at the Battle Cafe, where Terra finally evolved into a gentle but strong Torterra. Heading east into Route 215, I cleared the area and found an Abra which was named Spoons. I went into Veilstone City and spent my time shopping at a department store and even changed into an edgy emo outfit. I went back into the Grand Underground and caught a Magnemite, which I named after another viewer, Rage Wolf. Later, I found another Skorupi, which was caught and appropriately named Murderer. Although we had some casualties, the current team looks pretty solid. The third gym of fighting types was not difficult either, with Rage Wolf one-shotting Meditite with Thunderbolt, and Terra defeating Machoke and Lucario with Earthquakes. After the battle, Yvonne evolved into a mean-looking Staraptor, and we received the Cobble Bash. Later in the city, I paired up with Dawn and defeated some Galactic Grunts. And Rage Wolf proudly evolves into a Magneton. As Magneton can only evolve in areas with strong electromagnetic waves, where in this region it's Mount Coronet. Thus, I returned to the mountain, fed a rare candy to Magneton, and they evolved into a super tough Magnezone. Battling through the swampy marsh of Route 212, I made it to Pastoria City. The fourth gym of water types could not fight back against Rage Wolf's Thunderbolt, Terra's Razor Leaf, and Yvonne's Close Combat, thus earning us the Fan Badge with East. Unbeknownst to me, I made a grave comment as I healed at the Pokemon Center.
It'd be funny like if my entire Nuzlocke is like smooth sailing all the way until Cynthia came in and all my Pokemon died.
While I was chasing a suspicious grunt, a random NPC came over and battled me, which I won and took his lunch money. Heading east into Route 213, I continued my chase of the grunt, but found myself into a resort where I took a short break and harassed customers at the local restaurant. I defeated the grunt and met Cynthia, who provided me with medicine. Moving on, I went back to the Psyducks and convinced them to go for therapy, and later, Cynthia asked to deliver an old charm to her grandmother at Celestic Town. I entered the area and stopped a galactic grunt from damaging the local ruins. Cynthia's grandmother then came over and kindly gave me a tour inside the ruins, where I inspected a mural that depicts the three-legged Pokemon. Exiting the ruin, I met Cyrus once again, talking about universes or perspectives or whatever. I returned to Hearthome City and challenged the 5th gym of Ghost types. Drifblim went down from Rachel's Thunderbolt, and some bites and leech seeds from Terra were able to wear down Gengar and his Magius. And then we were rewarded with the Relic Badge. Immediately afterwards, I surfed towards Canalave City. As I crossed the bridge, an insurance agent approached me to purchase his product. I wholeheartedly declined and took his money. The act of robbing made Enference overjoyed and he evolved into a Rapidash. At the 6th gym of Steel types, I started off with Enference and he melted Bronzor with Flamethrower. Next was Steelix, which Enference threw out another Flamethrower. However, I had forgotten about Sturdy and Steelix survived. It unleashed an earthquake that would have ended Enference's life. However, the power of friendship allowed him to tough it out at 1 HP. Steelix was defeated by a Force Palm from Zen the Medicham, who was only a feeler for his team. Finally, Bastiodon goes down with an earthquake from Terra. Murderer, amused at my trauma, evolved into a Drapion and we received the Mind Badge. Later, I met up with Professor Rowan and Dawn at the Canalave Library, which I was tasked to investigate the signal lakes, when suddenly, a large tremor occurred and we learned that it was an explosion from Lake Valor. At the lake, I saw multiple dead fish flailing around the dried up lake. I found the person responsible for the explosion, Commander Saturn, who proved no trouble at all. I returned to Lake Verity and defeated the Galactic Grunts there too. Heading towards Lake Aquity, I climbed up Mount Coronet and entered the snowy region of Route 216. During this journey, I came head to toes with an Ace Trainer and her Lopunny. I sent out Enference and casted Flamethrower, but unknown to me, Lopunny had Miracled, which brought Enference down into 2 HP, and soon he was buried by the harsh ongoing hail.
The levels are big. Oh shit! No!
Our only fire type in the game, ironically, perished in the snow. We mourned for our fallen steed and moved on. Struggling past the icy blizzard, I arrived onto Snow Point City. Before entering the gym, I went to the Grand Underground and met an A-Pump, which is named after another viewer, Ben. I also took out Spoons the Kadabra, evolved it into an Alakazam and had it replace Enference. During an encounter with a Houndoom, which I was trying to catch, it casted Destiny Bond and Murderer accidentally defeated it, which brought him to his death. Destiny Bond is a move when used on the turn when the user faints, the opponent would also faint, or in this case, die. Another strong team member perished in the Grand Underground. Murderer was murdered. No! Drapion was doing so good, he just died from Destiny Bond. While clearing out the trainers at the gym, Fan evolved into a naughty angry hawk. Feeling ready for the 7th gym of Ice types, I sent out Rage Wolf and destroyed Snowbird with a flash cannon. Later, Yvonne was able to one-shot Sneasel, Medicham, and Abomasnow with Close Combat and Brave Birds, rewarding us the Icicle Badge. Reaching the last lake, Lake Equity, I noticed the insurance agent I fought earlier failed to protect the lake Pokemon. Thus, I returned to Veilstone City and raided the Galactic Building. At the top of the Galactic Empire, I found Cyrus, defeated him, and he kindly rewarded me with a Master Ball. I found Commander Saturn again at the basement, destroyed his team with Spoons, and saved the 3 legendary lake Pokemons of Sinnoh. Before climbing to the peak of Mount Coronet, I finally caught myself a water type at Route 221, a Finneon which is named after another viewer, Sad Gay Man. I went back around the region to level Sad Gay Man up, and she evolved into a beautiful Luminion. The team is now officially complete. Terra, who was with us since the beginning, Yvonne, who murdered many of our opponents, Rage Wolf, who has proved to be an amazing soldier, Spoons, who is a galactic killing machine, and lastly, although new to the team, Fans and Sad Gayman went for a 3-day impossible training course and are ready to contribute with the rest of the team. And the next item on our to-do list? To save the world. I climbed up Mount Coronet, battled a heavy amount of grunts along the way, and arrived to Spear Pillar. A pair of grunts stood our way and we annihilated their team. I moved forward and Cyrus summoned Dialga and took control with the red chains he extracted from the lake Pokemons. Commander Mars and Jupiter stood in our way for the last time, but then the insurance agent came by to help out. We paired up and defeated Team Galactic's final defenses. Before battling Cyrus, the lake Pokemons arrived onto Spear Pillar and saved Dialga from the red chains. Cyrus, fuming with anger as his plans crumble into dust, approached me for a final battle. Sad Game Man defeated Honchkrow with Ice Beams. Rage Wolf destroyed Gyarados with Thunderbolt. Fen and Yvonne worked together to put down Weavile. Cyrus sent out his final Pokemon, Crobat, which was no match against Galactic Killer Spoons as he goes down with Psychic. We have saved the world, but we are met with a challenge from Dialga. I sent out Sad Game Man and casted the first Ice Beam. Then, I chickened out and threw a Master Ball. Hey, I need my team to beat the Elite Four. Moving along the journey, we head east to the region via Route 222 and made it to the final gym at Sunny Shore City. At the final gym of electric types, Fen is met with another Ambipom, which he one-shotted with Double Hit. Rage Wolf once again landing another one-shot on the Octillery and also defeated Raichu and Luxray with a couple of tri-attacks. With all 8 badges in our hands, we are qualified to battle the Elite Four. We surfed up, climbed up the waterfall, and made it to the entrance of Victory Road. I hiked past the road and finally made it to the Pokemon League. My team and I took a deep breath, shoo a fly that was bothering us, and entered the league. First up is Aaron and his Bug-type Pokemons. He opened up with Dustox, which went down with a couple of double hits from Fen. Heracross then came in, and we tagged into Yvonne with U-turn and finished it off with Aerial Ace. Yvonne continues her murdering with more Aerial Aces and defeated Beautyfly and Vespiquen. I then swapped into Terra against his last Pokemon, Drapion, and cleared the battle with Earthquake. Next is Bertha and her Ground-type Pokemon. With no moves against Quagsire, Sad Game Man tagged out into Terra, who quickly defeated Quagsire and Whiscash with Giga Drains, but not before tanking an Ice Beam. Terra continues draining more HP and staying healthy from Sudowoodo and Golem with more Giga Drains. After finishing off Golem with a crunch, Terra tanked another ice attack from Hippowdon and retaliates again with Giga Drain. 2 battles in, Terra almost died twice, but so far, so good. Up ahead is Flint and his fire-type Pokemon, but not really. Entrance came back from the dead but was washed away with a Surf from Sad Game Man. Predicting a Thunderfang from Steelix, I swapped into Terra and finished it off with Earthquake. Next was Lopunny, and I swapped into Fen. Remembering the horrors of Lopunny, Fen almost died from a high jump. I switched into Yvonne and close combat destroyed Lopunny. Drifblim was next, which casted, minimized, and baton passed the stats onto his last Pokemon, Infernape. Yvonne once again proving to be a killing machine, annihilated with Aerial Ace, a move that cannot miss. Finally, Drifblim went down from Rage Roof's Thunderbolt. The last Elite Four was Lucian and his Psychic-type Pokemon. First is Mr. Mime, who tested Light Screen. I took this chance to switch into Spoons and get him ready to sweep with Nasty Plot. Next was Girafarig, which ruined my plan, as it is part normal type and I cannot use Shadow Ball on it. I brought out Terra but accidentally buffed Girafarig because of Zap Zipper. Terra unleashed a Crunch and I swapped into Sad Game Man, who almost died from a Thunderbolt. I healed her up and put down Girafarig with Surf. Tagging Sad Game Man out with U-turn and into Yvonne, who almost died from tanking a high jump kick. Aerial Ace defeated Medicham, and following up was Alakazam. I took this chance to heal my other Pokemon, but Lucian's Alakazam also prepped up with Nasty Plot. Having no other choice, I bet on Yvonne's speed and power to attack first. However, the Alakazam was faster and one Psychic ended Yvonne's life. Our team's proud assassin, who was with us so long on this journey, laid her life down. Goodbye, Yvonne. Terra, feeling vengeful for his fallen comrade, used Crunch and landed a critical hit on the Alakazam. Rest in peace, Yvonne. The final Pokemon was Bronzong, and Terra continued biting away at the enemy with Crunch. We defeated the Elite Four, but not without one casualty. The final battle is upon us. We are already at a disadvantage with one man down, but we held our heads high and proceed anyway and came face to face against Cynthia, the champion of the Sinnoh region. The first round is a battle between Spiritomb and Spoons. Predicting the Shadow Ball, I had Spoons held a Cacique Berry beforehand and getting ready to sweep. Unfortunately, Spiritomb also had Sucker Punch, which will always strike first, and Spoons was murdered in cold blood. This was a very tough situation. The strategy failed and it's now 4 versus 6, and it seemed like we were going to lose the Nuzlocke. I brought Terra in and started draining away Spiritomb's HP with Leech Seed and Giga Drain. Second was Milotic. Predicting an Ice Beam, I switched into Rage Wolf and killed it with a couple of Thunderbolts. We are now on equal standing again of 4 versus 4. Up next was Gastrodon. Predicting an Earthquake, I switched back into Terra and a Giga Drain finished it off. Following up with Roserade, I swapped into Rage Wolf, who tanked a couple of moves. Predicting a Shadow Ball, I decided to swap Fen out, but Cynthia also switched into her Lucario. Fen quickly used U-turn, tagged into Terra, and defeated Lucario with Earthquake, but not before almost dying to a Flash Cannon. Terra do be on his last legs, committing to his revenge. Roserade returned. I predicted Sludge Bomb correctly this time by switching into Rage Wolf and took this chance to heal my team. Again with a prediction with Shadow Ball, I swapped into Fen and defeated Roserade with double hit. And so, we are left with her final Pokemon, who so many trainers have feared, and the horror stayed true to this remake as Garchomp enters the field. I took this chance to heal my team up again, but Garchomp was getting ready to sweep with Swords Dance. Leaving no other choice, I had to sacrifice Fen and try to use Dual Chop, but unfortunately, Garchomp was faster. Garchomp prepped itself again with another Swords Dance, and Terra was able to plant a Leech Seed before his life finally ended. Having no time to mourn, I brought out Rage Wolf, who had Sturdy. Sturdy is an ability that prevents a Pokemon from fainting if they were to get one shot from full HP. From here on, it was a battle of wits, as Rage Wolf was tanking all the damage with Sturdy and Leech Seed from Terra slowly drains Garchomp's life away. And as I continuously feed Rage Wolf with medicine, this lasted for several turns as Cynthia also threw in full restores on her Garchomp. Rage Wolf was borderline being abused, as they wanted to cry throughout the whole ordeal. Eventually, Cynthia finally ran out of full restores and won the battle. If it were not for Terra not missing his Leech Seed, if it were not for catching Rage Wolf with Sturdy, we would have lost the Nuzlocke. Professor Rowan came to congratulate us on our victory as we entered the Hall of Fame with 4 corpses on our hands, a physically and mentally abused sentient magnet, and a fish trembling in chronic fear after witnessing their friends fall one by one. This puts the Nuzlocke and our Pokemon Brilliant Diamond journey to an end. I hope you enjoyed this journey with me, and I'll see you on my next video.